I used to have 200 tarot and oracle decks. Now I have less than 20. Let me get into showing you the ones that I decided to keep and why. Hi, I'm Emily Bryce, the Wild Mystic. If we haven't met before, lovely to have you here. So I don't keep mine in their boxes for the most part. I keep them in wooden boxes like this. And if you like this design, there's a beautiful lady, I think her name is Nairi, Burnt Offerings New Zealand, if you're in New Zealand, or NZ, I think it is, Burnt Offerings NZ. She's on Instagram and Facebook. I used to have, if you see the IKEA beauty drawers, there we go, words are hard. I used to have 2 of those filled, chocker filled with tarot decks and oracle decks. Now, there's nothing wrong with collecting tarot and oracle, let me make that clear first, but it was an addiction for me. It was a coping mechanism, spending money, getting dopamine, always on to the next, like literally, this is during lockdown times. A deck would arrive and I'd unwrap it, go through it and be like, okay, what one can I get next? How we cope is how we cope, but also I didn't understand yet that the power is within you, not in the cards, and I was sort of compensating for a lack of self-worth at the time. So we've healed that and we have decluttered. I have a few decluttering videos. I'll link them somewhere if you want to go check them out and see the ones that I used to have. I had a beautiful collection. I was very lucky, very, very lucky. These are the ones that I have now. So there is 18 of them, I believe. 3 of them are ones that I personally have made. Some of them are indie decks, some of them are your mass-produced mainstream ones. But let's get into it. I feel like this is a very like chatty video, so grab a coffee, grab your tea, let's talk about it. There is one deck that I do not have the name for, but maybe someone watching this will be able to tell me what it is so I can tell you guys. But let's get into it. So this is the Sacred Creators Oracle by Chris Ann. I have my list written down to the left of me, that's why I keep looking over there for the titles, because again, I don't keep them in the boxes. I keep some of the guidebooks, but I'm not a big user of guidebooks personally. I read more intuitively. This is a tool to access your intuition, to access your higher self and your spirit guides, your ancestors and passed on loved ones. If you use the guidebook, that is absolutely fine. There's no judgment. There's nothing wrong with it. This is just personally how I like to read, okay? So this is the indie version and it came with a really thick guidebook as well, which I do have. It's in the drawers over there, which I should have grabbed before I sat down to do this video, but that's fine. Let me show you a few of the cards. Holy smokes, I've been talking for 3 minutes already. I was going to try and keep this video under 10 minutes. I'm not sure that's going to happen. But these are really cool if you are entrepreneurial, if you're trying to have your own business, or if you are a creative. Very cool deck. It is now mass produced. A couple of the cards have changed, I believe. My chair is going down, but that is fine. Everything's fine. This one here is by Inner Hue and it's called, which one are you? Connected and Free. I'm not sure if she still makes this. I think this was the 2nd edition. She also did a tarot deck which was very cool. It's not one that I kept. I did have it. It'll be in one of my decluttering videos. But I love this art style. Very cool. I use this one a lot. If you've had a personal reading with me, also linked in bio, you've probably seen this one, seen me use it. Now this one here is by a Australian creator, I believe, Ebony, one of the two. It is called The Awakened Soul, and it comes in a magnetic box, which is very cool. They are a little large, that is the only downside. I shuffle them like this. has the beautiful silver edging, and the artwork is incredible. I love these cards. These are a really empowering, inclusive, I mean, there are some ways that it could be more inclusive. It's mainly just female presenting in there, but I'm not a big fan of inclusivity. Is really important, but doing it just to tick a box doesn't work, and it shows when a deck has done that. And unfortunately that has been a big trend in the last couple of years as Oracle and Tarot has gotten more popular. No shade, but I think we've got enough decks now where the Chariot is someone in a wheelchair. Any of the 78 cards could have someone in a wheelchair. It doesn't have to be the Chariot. Okay, I'm just saying. Full sass. But this is a good empowering self-care, self-love kind of deck. I quite often pull from here for like, what is the self-care action that I need, or what does my inner child need? Really cool for inner child stuff as well. Now this one here, some of you might remember me from when I was in Spiritual Tribe. That is how I started on here and on Facebook. And this is one of the decks that I made, and these are, I think, poker sized, but you know, pocket sized. They're good for small hands, and it's just simple messages. I use these a lot, especially at the moment actually. If you're on Facebook or TikTok, following me on there, you've probably seen me use these in lives. Very simple messages. Kind of tempted to do another reprint of that. Let me know if you would be interested. Then we have one off Etsy called Inquire Within. By Worthwhile Paper, I think is their name. It is on the expensive side. I think I paid like $80 something for this plus shipping, which shipping to New Zealand is never cheap, but that's fine. I use this a lot, and even though like it's simple imagery, it's very effective. Oh, that was up the right way. Very clear. This deck gives a lot of clarity, and it's a good general read. Like you can do any kind of reading with this one. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Then we have the traditional Rider-Waite Smith tarot deck, just your standard sized as well. I resisted getting this tarot deck for a long time because I wanted the really pretty ones. I wanted the different ones, the indie ones that you pay $100 to $200 for, that not everyone has, and it's all very cool and that's amazing, but they are not generally beginner friendly. It's an extra challenge, like learning tarot, remembering the 78 meanings and then double that if you're gonna take reversals. It takes a while, it takes a lot of time, and I think it's actually really important to learn the symbolism. This is for me personally, you don't have to agree, it's all good, but the symbolism of these cards, because this is how it was designed. If you read the Rider-Waite Smith style, there's also Thoth decks. I think there's another one. But Rider-Waite Smith, as far as I know, most of the imagery of the decks that you know now are based on this style. That is something to keep in mind if you're new to tarot, if you're starting to learn tarot. That's sticky. I have no idea why. I wish I knew back then that it's better to have 1 or 2 tarot decks and just bond with them, learn them, get comfortable with them, have a relationship with that deck, and then branch out and get your more different ones. It will help tremendously, rather than trying to have the latest and greatest and all the best, right? All the different ones. Your worth, your value as a reader and as a person does not come from how many you have or having the best. Then we have another one that I made. This is an oracle deck called the Fuck It Oracle. So obviously this is not for anyone that finds swearing offensive. I have thought about doing a run of this on Kickstarter. I don't know. It's hard to do advertising for this, even just doing videos showing these cards, because a lot of the algorithms don't like swearing, and that's fine. It is what it is. But I love this one. It is blunt. It is sassy. It will tell you what you need to hear, and it will probably hurt your feelings. I'm very much a reader that will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. That's why I created that deck, because there's so many on the market now that are love and light, and that's great, but we have to balance it with doing the shadow work, with being grounded in reality. And it's a very empowering deck. Okay, it's that rebel energy. So then another oracle, this is called, what one is this? Whispering Woods. Whispering Woods. It is a nice small one. This is the back of them. Cute wee cards. Good wee reminders. A very grounded energy. Easy to shuffle with. If you're wanting to do just like mini reads, this is a really good one. And then we have the Spacious Tarot, which I believe you can now get an expansion pack for, which is really cool. This tarot deck does not have any people in it, so it brings quite a neutral energy to readings, which I like, and it's a good size. It's not too big. Very cool imagery. That's the back of them. But see, things like having Guardian of Wands, which I do struggle to remember, to be honest with you. I think that's either, I think that's the Queen. I think there's like Protector or something for Knights, but that's where it gets confusing when you're still learning, and it kind of interrupts your flow, having a deck that's got different wording for the court cards, or different for, like, instead of pentacles they're going to say crystals or things like that, which is really cool and really creative. And the more creative you are with something, the more of your energy is with something, so then it'll really speak to you. However, when you're learning tarot, that's a lot to wrap your head around, especially if you're then referencing different guidebooks and you're trying to be like, okay, well, that's that and that suit, so it must be that and that one, and it just gets a bit much. In my experience, everyone is different. Spirituality is very much about your own path, not, well, it's this way for me, so it's this way for you. Like, that's religion. That's different. This one here is, I absolutely love this, and this is really good for mediumship. You could also definitely do like love readings or anything where you're trying to get personality from about people. This is called the Wisdom Keepers, and it's massive. Okay, like, it is massive, but the amount of detail in these cards, do you agree? This is stunning. This is stunning. I believe I got this off Amazon, was the only place that I could find it, but that would be going back a few years. It's also got the numbers on them, which means you can bring numerology into it. And while I wish they would put out a pocket edition, you would lose all of the detail. Like, look at all the symbolism. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I just love it. I love this one. There's a lot of emotions in the expression of people as well. I love this one. I think I used it in my latest the video before this one, the messages from passed on loved ones. So then I actually, there is another deck that I made. I don't have it anymore though. It is called, what was it called? It was F Formations. There's possibly a video of it on here, I don't know. But this is one that doesn't have a name, and it's just, I've written stuff on card, and that's how simple it is. That is how simple it can be to make an oracle deck. And you know, this may have been upside down. But this is a good way. Create your own oracle deck, and if you do it with your own art as well, that's amazing. But just writing things on cards and channeling your intuition as to what the messages need to be, that is a perfect way, one, to develop your intuition, two, to be able to get clear messages from your spirit guides, because your energy is in there and they're telling you this is the kind of messages that we want to give you, right? Because especially with oracle, bear in mind when you're doing a reading and trying to get the meaning of something, the oracle card can only say what the oracle card can say, especially if it's mainly text based. But it is really cool that, as most of you will know, sometimes you're looking at a card and all of a sudden this flower, for example, really stands out and you've never really noticed it before, but it has significance for the person that you're reading for, and all this stuff drops in about it, and then you're doing a reading for someone else and that same card comes out, but the flower doesn't stand out the next time. It was just for that person. It's really cool. It's one of the things I love about tarot and oracle. Absolutely incredible how messages come through, and if a message needs to come through, trust that it will. Trust that it will. Trust your intuition. So then we have a New Zealand creator called Raina Cotier Art. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but this is a Te Reo Māori bilingual deck, and I had her first edition of this. It's probably in one of the decluttering videos. I ended up, I can't remember if I sold it or if I gave it away, but then I was like, no, I need this. And I got one for a good friend of mine when I got this one as well. So you've got your English and your Te Reo Māori up here as well. And these cards are beautiful, and there's so much energy in these. A lot of like a calm knowing, a lot of peaceful energy, but don't mess with them either. Like it's a powerful deck, this one. I love it. Then we have the Lantern Oracle, and this is one that I use a lot. Again, if you've had a personal reading from me, you've probably seen this video, seen this deck used. I edged this myself. It probably needs doing again, to be honest, just with a felt marker. But this is the Lantern Oracle, and the way I describe this deck is it is a like self-love empowering one, but it's got grit. It's going to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to know, kind of thing. It's not love and light, all fluffy. It's a very grounded, has I guess a darkness to it in a positive way. Like, don't be afraid of the darkness. It's very cool, this one. I use it all the time, and I do have the guidebook of this one, which is quite a good one, Next up we have Path of Light. Now this one is very special to me because it was sent to me by one of my clients that I do soul coaching with. Which is basically like spiritual counseling, I guess you'd call it. Using tarot to get guidance on how to heal, how to get out of your own way, one-on-one calls. Incredible transformation, especially the beautiful lady that gifted me this oracle deck, which absolutely stunning artwork, and the colors are so vibrant. The guidebook on this one is quite powerful as well. I showed that card before, but holy hecka, look at that. Okay, what else we got? There can't be too many more. This one is called the This Might Hurt tarot deck, and I think this was an indie edition. It must be because it's edged. I know a lot of mass-produced ones now come edged, but back in the day they didn't. So this is the black pearl edging, which, as you can see, it comes in an iridescent one as well, or at least it did when I got it. This deck is very well used, very well loved. This is one of my favorite reach for it all the time tarot decks, and I mean, This Might Hurt tarot, yeah, right up my alley. That is the kind of energy that tarot brings. I think, you know, oracle tends to be a bit more loving. Tarot is a hard hitter, but for your highest good, always for your highest good. And you should never leave a reading feeling worried or scared. If that is the case, the reader has not done their job properly. But we also need to acknowledge the fact that sometimes we go on TikTok and we keep looking at picker cards until we get the answer that we're looking for. There is spiritual bypassing, and there are readers that want to tell you everything is amazing when it isn't. But that's fine. Now this is another indie one, which I believe is now mass produced, or it's like a standard edition. I think this is the standard edition of the indie version, if that makes sense. So this is called Cosmic Cycles. I'm holding it upside down. There was an edged version, but I couldn't validate spending the money at the time. This is a really cool storytelling oracle deck. If that is how you read, and that is the good thing about trying different decks, is you learn how you read. Symbolism is so powerful, but decks that say a lot to me may not necessarily say a lot to you. And there are some that there are a lot that I've had, because remember I used to have 200. Incredible artwork, absolutely love the deck, but then I work with it and it just says nothing to me. It's not how I read, it's not how my spirit guides communicate, and that deck is meant to go to someone else. And that is one thing that I like to do if I'm not sure if a deck has run its course with me. And yes, I know I have an accent and that word sounds like something else. It's fine. Very cool cards, these ones. You can pull a card and ask, is it time for this deck to go to someone else? Or you can ask, is there anything else that this deck has to teach me? Because one thing that I do to help bond with a deck when I first get it, whether it's brand new or secondhand, which I see nothing wrong with as long as you're clearing the energy of the deck, is ask it, what has this deck come into my life to teach me? Because this is always about guidance and empowerment first. 2222 as I said that. Now this is the Threads of Fate Oracle. I'm not sure if it has like an actual name other than that, but it did come in a very cool box, but I didn't keep the box because I don't use it. It just stayed in the chest of drawers for ages. But these cards are incredible, absolutely incredible. I think a lot of us readers just like shiny things. Now I did have the Threads of Fates, was it Lumiere edition? Something like that. It was holographic and it had a lot of purple in it and it was absolutely stunning. My friend Stacy ended up buying it off me and it is beautiful, but it didn't speak to me. It didn't speak to me, and I kept it for a couple of years because it was beautiful and it was very expensive, but I couldn't read with it. Not as deeply as I can read with the ones that I've kept. So I think you've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 tarot decks. Yeah, 4 of the ones that I have left are tarot, the rest are oracle. So I must have 14 oracle decks, including the ones that I've made, that I have still. Now this one is called Into the Lonely Woods. This is another one that I bought this year. So this one and Whispering Woods I bought this year, or towards the end of last year. There was a metaphysical like crystal shop that was shutting down in Christchurch, unfortunately. So I thought it was time to buy a couple new ones, and these ones were calling my name, and they both have a real grounded energy. This one reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are. Beautiful cards. I haven't looked at the guidebook very much of this one, so I'm not sure if it's good. Then we have, this is Personal Power by Deja Druitt. This is like the first or second edition. She's done more, and they now come with like metallicness on the back, which is so cool. I finish all of my readings whether that's on lives or picker cards or personal readings with an affirmation. That's how I personally like to close out the energy, and this is the deck that I use 98% of the time. And it's interesting, some clients will have a affirmation that keeps following them. They get it every time, or it pops up every now and again so that they can go deeper with it. But these cards are absolutely stunning, and they are a good like pocket size, absolutely beautiful. Then we have another New Zealand created one called Intuition. I forget the name of the creators, but they did a kids book called Aroha's Way, which is really cool for empowerment and mental health. They also did a book version of this oracle deck, I believe, but very cool cards. Very cool. I love this. I love this one too. Okay, these cards are incredible. Absolutely love them. I would say this is another like storytelling kind of one. Really good if you read that way. And you can do all kinds of readings with this one. And then finally, we have a shadow work deck, which unfortunately, I'm not sure what it's called. It might be in another decluttering video. I used to have a few of their decks, and this is the only one that I kept. This is a indie one. It's not the best cardstock, but very good for shadow work, or looking into like what is blocking me, things like that. And it's also like these images are kind of like the ink blot tests, where it might just look like squiggles, but when you look at it, what is it that you see? And different people see different things in these cards. It's very cool. I use them quite a lot when I'm doing shadow work stuff, working with clients, working through limiting beliefs, and also childhood trauma. This is a big one to help unpack that. Very cool cards. So did I count up correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, I have 20. I don't have 18. I have 20. Did I count that one? Do I have 21? I have 20-ish. So that is, yeah, that's my collection now. That's all of it. Definitely went a little bit over 10 minutes, but that's fine. Thank you for watching. Let me know what other readings, what other content you would like to see. Take care. As I said earlier, personal readings and like my shadow work workbook, meditations, they're linked in description, and I might pop in the links to my previous decluttering videos as well if you'd like to see some more of like what I used to have. It was very different, and I used to have turquoise hair and it was very cool and I really miss it, but my hair does not like being blonde. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.